foolish mortals.
Hello there. Are you insane? Get out of here!
Remain seated with your seatbelt fastened.
Right, off you go.
Welcome to Average Joe Orlando. Hello, theme park goers. Happy holidays. Welcome to Joe's deep dive of Disney's holiday events of past and present. Sounds very like the spirits of Halloween past and present. What is that? Jacob Marley? You know what I mean. Christmas Carol. Yes. Anyway, today we're going to talk about some of the things that Disney used to have that I remember fondly for the holidays, and some of the things they currently have, and then go into some details about them. So let's deep dive right in. Yeah, that works. First thing I'm going to talk about is Cinderella's Dream Lights. Remember when? We're going to do that a lot. Remember when Disney used to put up the lights on the castle and actually string them and not just do projections? And when Cinderella lit her castle? Well, the fairy godmother? I do. So the Cinderella lights on the castle used to see a crane going up probably around September. And they actually had to put up the lights, and they were like these big net lights that went over there. And then at the end of the season, they had to take them all down. It was definitely a process. However, personal opinion, I think it was definitely worth it. I think they looked better than the projection lights. And even though we had to deal with the crane, I just thought they were cool. We were told they were going to come back. I remember, I think it was COVID. There people were saying, oh, no, they just went away because of COVID, because we like blaming COVID for things. But then they never came back, and we just do projections still. So I still have hope that one day they'll come back. I believe Disneyland still does them because they're just great. But they don't. And unfortunately, then they also did Cinderella because, after all, it's her castle. Well, Prince Charming's castle that she married. It's fine. But it used to be Cinderella would come out, and she did the wish, and the fairy godmother came out and would light up the castle, bibbidi boppity boo. It's my castle. This is cool. This is what I wished for. Then Frozen came out, and then that's all we talked about. If you remember the summer that it came out, that's all Disney World was. And now Elsa lights up Cinderella's castle, which personally I think is kind of rude. Like, it's not your home, and that's not your castle. So maybe you should be like, hey, you interested? And maybe Cinderella's going to be like, no thanks, I got my own fairy godmother. I digress. But now Elsa lights it up, and it's projection mapping. So goodbye, Cinderella Dream Lights. The next one hurts probably the most. Over at Hollywood, aka Old School MGM Studios, we had the Osborne Family Spectacle of Dancing Lights. It was so good. So I remember taking over the streets of America during the Christmas season. However, it started over in what used to be the residential area where they had like the Golden Girls house and everything in the backlot tour. And they would basically take it. So if you don't know the Osborne family, real family, they would set up a Christmas light display on their house all over. They had these crazy lights. They built like these merry-go-round things and giant trees. The neighbors complained about it, so then he bought the neighbors' houses, which I'm like, good for you. And then it just kept getting bigger and bigger. However, people kept complaining, so then Disney said, we'll take them, and we'll display them here in our neighborhood. And that's what they did. They worked with this Osborne family, not Ozzy Osbourne, different guy, didn't eat bats. But this one, they started displaying their lights that they had on the neighborhood of the backlot. So they'd close the backlot tour, rest in peace, early, and would display this. When the backlot tour tore that area down to build Lights, Motors, Action, it was all on the streets of America, which is what I remember. And it was fantastic. And they would keep going, and they had it all over, a giant light switch, and they'd invite a family up to switch on the lights every year. They would dance along to the music, and the cast members would dance along when they would play different songs. It would snow. It was amazing. However, it unfortunately ended in 2015 when they demolished the streets of America, and I guess Disney World's just so small they didn't have a place to put it. Very angry about this, still bitter. I don't understand how they didn't find a place for the Osborne Family Spectacle of Dancing Lights. Look it up online to watch it, but guess what? It's not going to do it justice because it was so good. It was so Christmassy. Really, really missed that one. The other one over at at Animal Kingdom was Mickey's Jingle Jungle Parade. So during the daytime, they used to have a parade. When the park started, it was March of the Artimals, and then it went over to Mickey's Jammin' Jungle Parade. And if you remember this parade, they would take guests, then put them on floats. They wouldn't just take them. They would ask their permission. And they would basically have all the animals. It's weird when you look back on it that you realize all the characters are looking and they're saying, hey, we're on safari. and they're looking at you, so it's a people safari kind of. But anyway, it was through the park. And then during the holidays, it was Mickey's Jingle Jungle, and the soundtrack would change, and they would have things on the floats, and like Minnie's float, I remember smelled like hot cocoa. It was just a fun overlay on this parade. Unfortunately, the Jam and Jungle closed when they opened up Pandora because they were worried, oh my gosh, this park is going to be crazy, which it was, but they could have still done it. And with that, Jingle Jungle also closed, so nothing over there as well, unfortunately. So those are three of the events I'm going to highlight that we unfortunately do not have anymore over at Disney for the holidays. My favorite, of course, being Osborne, but I still miss the castle lights. But let's go into what they do have and what you can do this season. Coming right up. Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Now that's going to be running from November 8th to December 20th. It runs from 7 o'clock at night to 12 a.m., and the tickets are ridiculous. They are starting around $169 to $219 a night. And if we want to talk about past and present, I remember when they used to be like $50 a night. But don't worry, if you're an annual pass holder or DVC, you get $10 off. Bargain. So it is a cool party. It is extremely overpriced, don't get me wrong. It also, if you didn't notice, it ends pretty early. It ends at on the 20th of December. And unlike the Halloween party, which goes through Halloween, this one stops because the week of Christmas is so busy. They don't run it because they have to keep the park open. However, all the offerings are actually during the day there. So the parades, the shows, etc., will be during that week for free if you want to deal with the crowds at Magic Kingdom, of course. But there's the Frozen Holiday Surprise, eye roll, where Elsa lights up Cinderella's castle. There's Minnie's Wonderful Christmas Time fireworks every night at 10 o'clock. They also do the Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas Time parade. Now, this runs from 8:30 to 11. This parade is very long. It actually, if you don't know, it steps off from one area, ends at another one. It actually fills the entire parade route. So it's ending when it's still beginning, or it's beginning when it's end. It's running the full parade route. This is the one with the wooden soldiers that play the trumpets. It's a great parade. It snows on Main Street. A lot of fun. And then there's Mickey's Most Merriest Celebration. These are tongue twisters that run 4 times a night, and that is the Castle Show. There's also included cookies and specialty drinks included, like hot cocoa and cider, snows, character appearances, and then they do ride overlays similar to Mickey's Not So Scary. So Space Mountain does Halloween music and lights. The Speedway does a really cool one with a bunch of lights all over. Mad Tea Party has 4 different combinations of songs that go along with the lights. The Jungle Cruise turns into the Jingle Cruise. However, that will also be running during the daytime. And then the Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor does holiday-themed shows as well. There's specialty merchandise over at the Emporium and Star Traders. They got spirit jerseys, long sleeves, shirts, t-shirts, mugs, ornaments, blah, blah, blah. And then there's special treats for purchase. So they're known for food, because who doesn't like to Instagram food photos? Cosmic Rays, Casey's, Pecos Bills, Friars and Rooks, Sleepy Hollow, all special things as well. As well. Drink every time I say it. No, don't do that. Additional, there's also upcharges. So if you feel like, hey, I didn't spend enough money, let's spend more. They have a fireworks dessert party at the Tomorrowland Terrace and with the Plaza Garden viewing. And they have like beer and wine. So if you want to pay more money for something, go for it. And then table service is open at Be Our Guest, Cinderella's, and the Plaza. There's also some special photo ops. But as I mentioned, a lot of the parade show and the fireworks will run for day guests during the week of Christmas. And that is all for Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. A lot of people always ask me, which one do you like more, the Halloween or the Christmas party? I like Halloween just because I like Halloween. But the Christmas party is really fun too. They're both great. If you could swing it and don't mind spending that money, it's a fun event just because it's nice walking in and just getting special treats and then having the overlays for the rides. It is really fun. The next one I'm going to talk about is a newer one, which I've never experienced, and judging from what I saw online last year, I don't think I need to, is Jollywood Nights over at Disney's Hollywood Studios. This one started last year in 2023 and is coming back, so I'm hoping there's going to be some little changes and a little adjustments. It seems like obviously the first year is always tough, but Jollywood Nights is over starting November 9th and it runs through December 21st. It's a little cheaper, so you got a bargain here. $159 to $179 a night. Once again, $10 off if you are an annual pass holder or Disney Vacation Club. and it runs from 7:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m., but you can get in the park starting at 6:30. And this one is a different theme. So you have the traditional of Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. I'm going to use all the correct names, goals, over at the Magic Kingdom, and that is the traditional Christmas. You have the Disney Christmas. This one's like the more of the old Hollywood Christmas, which on paper sounds fantastic. I hope that it's going to be good. They did add some things this year, but let's talk about it. So there is a show in the Beauty and the Beast Theater, the Theater of the Stars, called Disney's Holidays in Hollywood. Oh my gosh, who made these names? So this is Holidays in Hollywood for Jollywood Nights. Watermelon, peas, and carrots. Okay, I got this. Kermit and Miss Piggy host. There's dancers, jazz musicians, characters such as Tiana Bell, Mickey Minnie, and they do 4 of these shows a night. There's a holiday fiesta in La Calle. Did I say that right? I don't know. There's musicians performing Latin holiday tunes in the animation courtyard. There's the Twilight Soiree at the at the Tip Top Club, and they do 7 shows a night. This was one of the bigger busts it looked like last year. You think the Tip Top Club, you're going into the Tower of Terror, but it was more of kind of just like at the exit of the ride, and they had a singer and a little like cash bar. So maybe they'll change it up. There's also Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam at 10 p.m. every night. This is the show that ran for years over at Hollywood Studios. And then there's, if you want to get in starting at 6, because the park closes for day guests a little later, and we'll start at 7:30 for the event, you can come in until see Fantasmic included with your ticket at 6:30. There's also the Jazzy Holidays at the Hollywood Brown Derby, which is another thing that looked like last year was something that people set their expectations much higher than they should have been. Since I think Disney kind of downplayed it this year, since they played it up that get ready to sing holiday tunes and have a themed thing. But it was basically just a piano and a guy singing songs and some garland. So maybe don't spend your money on that one. But there are other things that are exciting about the event, such as characters, special characters. So they have 20 unique characters. Starting over at Echo Lake, you got Phineas Ferb, Max's Powerline, Baloo, King Louie, Chip and Dale as their Rescue Rangers, Santa Stitch. In the animation courtyard, you have Jose and Panchito from the Three Caballeros. At the Pixar Plaza, you still have Edna, who's there at other times. You have other Pixar characters, Goofy, Pluto. Toy Story Land, we get to see Bo Peep and Lotso, which I wonder if he still smells like strawberries. I remember when Toy Story 3 came out, and you can meet him, and he smelled like strawberries. I hope he does. If you go, sniff him. Let me know. Grand Avenue, Santa Duffy, who you never really see Duffy anymore, so that's kind of cool. Hollywood Boulevard, you got Mickey, Donald, Daisy, and then at Red Carpet Dreams, you have Minnie. So specialty photo ops. You also have the specialty treats for purchase. Big thing last year was the Gertie cookies, and Gertie is Dinosaur Gertie over at Echo Lake, that big Brontosaurus. That's Gertie, and they have Dinosaur Gertie cookies, which is very neat. And then you're encouraged to dress in your red carpet Hollywood best. A lot of rhyming. This is like a Dr. Seuss party. Jeez. But that's supposed to be the theme of this one. New this year, they're also doing a sweet treat for free when you exit. There's going to be some new character experiences. And then there's a new skating show on Hollywood Boulevard that's going to be 5 shows a night. And then there's specialty event merch with Ollie the Jolly Gingerbread. I guess they're not going to call him Bill, so I guess Ollie is a good name. But Ollie the Jolly Gingerbread is the character that they created for this event. So you can meet Ollie, not Bill, the Jolly Gingerbread. We can't meet him. He's kind of a neon sign. So I will say this event, if you've done Mickey's Very Merry a few times, this is a nice change of pace. If you didn't do this event last year, I do have higher hopes for it this year, being that it is returning. The first year is always a little rough. I do see that they're doing a completely different theme than the other one. I do miss, though, that you're not getting a fireworks show. You're not getting a parade. They did add another show this year, which I definitely think is good. I know there is also a sing-along if you want to go for but they had the Frozen sing-along during the day. It's a Nightmare Before Christmas one. So if you like to sit in a room with strangers and sing, that's a thing that you could do that happens. Also, the rides are open, so obviously you get Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, another one, and Rise of the Resistance, so at least the rides are open too. So it is a little different. Anybody that I talked to that went said it's good, but I think that's up to you which one you'd rather do. Over at Epcot, let's travel over there. So Epcot, for an additional fee. No, I'm kidding. Cool thing about Epcot is they do Festival of the Holidays. So Festival of the Holidays begins on November 29th and runs through December 30th. And the reason for that is because then it switches over to New Year's, where they do a giant New Year's party. I've never been because at midnight sitting in traffic doesn't sound fun. But if you haven't seen it online, they'll do all the countries around Epcot will celebrate New Year's Eve, and they'll do a big New Year's party, and they'll have silent discos and raves, and it just gets pretty crazy. I'm sure it's a lot of fun, but it's also very, very busy as well. But Festival of Holidays over at Epcot has a lot of different things. So Festival of Holidays, they have, obviously, the Candlelight Processional. So if you don't know the Candlelight Processional, that's when they do the story of Christmas with a celebrity narrator. And then they have a giant choir. And the choir, there's locals that audition for it. There's also cast members that go out for it. And they have a giant choir that sing holiday songs. And then they do the story of Christmas. And then they do a celebrity narrator, which is really neat. It is free and first come, first serve. However, they do sell packages as well where you can get the tickets, so you are guaranteed seating. So if there is somebody, I know last year Brendan Fraser came, and that was very busy because who doesn't want to see Brendan Fraser? He's great. But you can go over there, and that would be one of the shows. They have Meet Santa Claus. They also do the Holiday Storytellers, which is really fun. I remember seeing this on the Travel Channel back before Travel Channel was just Ghost Hunters, when they did actually travel. And I think it was like Samantha Brown went there. Wow, I'm dating myself. And all the different storytellers around the countries. So you get to go to France and get to see, how they celebrate and who St. Nicholas is in their country and all the different traditions. So it's edutainment, but it's also really neat just to kind of travel around and get in the spirit. They also do different holiday kitchens around the world. So similar to all their different food and wine and flower and garden, all the booths have different, culinary treats. They added a cookie stroll, so you can go around and get different cookie treats. And then if you get all the different cookies, you get a prize, I guess, at the end. They do another scavenger hunt for the kids. So every year, I know I think it's Food and Wine, they do Remy. This one, they do an Olaf one where you can go a scavenger hunt. They do some ride layovers. Living with the Land does the glimmering greenhouses. Of past days, the first year that Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind opened, they actually did a holiday overlay where they had an original song, so it was a holiday theme. However, for some reason, have never brought that back. I'm like, you spent all that money and never brought it back. But if you want a holiday layover, there is the one for Living with the Land. A few years back, Animal Kingdom started the Magical Menagerie over on Discovery Island. Those are these giant animal puppets they have that come out. They also have some nice decorations in that area. They have, of course, their projection on the tree. It all depends on when the park is open till, but that has been announced to return this holiday season also. So little things all around at each park. There's always something. Not to mention each park does have their iconic tree in the front or somewhere in the park. Different holiday decorations going on, and different food, and of course, they love a good cupcake. It seems like every year there's a different cupcake. So plenty of things to do at each of the parks. Now there's also Disney Springs. Disney Springs does have their meet and greet with Santa. They also have their Disney Springs tree hunt that they bring back each year. In the past, it was in the one area. It was actually the old bus load area where I used to get on. Now they scatter them around the park, and these are fun because, or scatter them around the, the three areas of Disney Springs. This has different trees that are based on different either IPs or rides or anything. I always remember the Haunted Mansion tree being really fun. So you could either do the official hunt where you actually are looking for them all and walking around Disney Springs, or you could just go on your own and wander and happen upon different trees. There's also different layovers. I know Jock Lindsay's does one each year where they do a nice little holiday layover inside, and each place usually has their different menus. On the stage, they'll do different shows. They'll usually have characters walking around, stilt walkers. So Disney Springs also gets into the holiday spirit. So it's really nonstop here in Orlando, starting in mid-August with Halloween, and then as soon as Halloween is over, boom, we go right into the holiday season, and then right before New Year's, boom, it's New Year's. All right, big New Year's, lots of fireworks going on, and then it's all over. And then we start over next year with a marathon weekend and just keep going from there. Now, of course, the resorts are their own thing, which we'll get into for a different podcast. But speaking of Disney, all the parks get into them around the world. Over at Disneyland, they still, as I mentioned earlier, they do, and I double-checked, have the castle lights where it's the old school, like hanging lights, not projections on the castle. The holidays at Disneyland Resort does start November 15th, and they run through January 6th, so they do a little different of a schedule than over here in Orlando. They, of course, have where you can meet Santa Claus. They have new seasonal attire coming this year where all the characters will be in new costume. Usually, if you look at a lot of the international parks, they do that. It seems like World kind of stays the same each year, but it is exciting that they do that over at Disneyland. They also do a Chippendales ornament trail. So there are ornaments hidden on holiday trees throughout the downtown Disney district, which they call down there Downtown Disney. Over at California Adventure, they do their own version of Festival of the Holidays. For the past few years, they've been doing different things like food and wine festivals, etc. Very similar to Epcot, but at Disney's California Adventure. So I'll have all the different food, music, cuisines, traditions for different cultures and different holidays, which is exciting and something different too. I've always wanted to go there. I've never got to go to Disneyland for the holidays. I've only been there for Halloween, so definitely a goal. They have the Disney Viva Navidad, that's with the 3 Caballeros as well. And then they have different festival feastings as I go through their website. Over the holidays at Disneyland, they have their Disney Christmas Fantasy Parade. And then they have something that I really want to do, which I've never got to see, was It's a Small World Holiday. So they do a complete overlay on It's a Small World. They close it down and reopen it, and they do a whole overlay on It's a Small World. And if you've ever looked on YouTube like I have, it's pretty cool. They also do Haunted Mansion Holiday. I did get to do this because it opens for Halloween through Christmas, since that is a Christmas/Halloween movie, depending on how you look at it. And Haunted Mansion Holiday is going on. That is a fantastic overlay. I know the first time I did it, I was like, okay, well, they're just going to throw in a few like little things. No, they completely redo the ride. Then, of course, as Sleeping Beauty's Castle turns into the Wintertime Enchantment, and they have Believe in Holiday Magic Fireworks. And then at California Adventure, they have the World of Color. They have Season of Light, layover show. And then they do some rides as well. They'll do Mater's Jingle Jamboree, Luigi's Joy to the World Holiday. So they'll do different overlays on the rides. Plus Cars Land always does a really cool layover for the holidays. So a lot going on there. So if you just don't want to stay here in Orlando at World, you can head out to Land and see their stuff. I know Disneyland Paris always has some nice stuff I always get to see online. Of course, Tokyo and all the other parks too. So wherever you go, the Disney parks will have something for you. And I will see you at the parks. Thanks for taking a ride with Average Joe Orlando.
You made it!
I knew you would. Is everyone okay? Hope you still want to open an account.
Say cheese! See you later!
Thanks, everybody. You were brilliant.
At this time, gather up your personal belongings and take your small grubs by their grubby little hands as you exit. Thank you.